Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Rozanki, Housing Programs and Strategic Initiatives Manager here at IFA. And on behalf of our Communications Director, Ashley Jared, and our entire Iowa Finance Authority and Iowa Economic Development Authority team, I would like to welcome you all to our Iowa Profile Demonstration webinar. We're excited to have our partner MySidewalk join us today to provide expert guidance on using the new Iowa Profile tool, which offers a comprehensive data resource for you as community leaders and policymakers to gather data and important insights into housing, demographics, quality of life, and the economy in your county, city, zip code, or census tract. And we really believe that the Iowa Profile will prove to be a valuable resource in telling your community's story, and greatly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more with us today. So now I would like to introduce Stephen Hardy, CEO of MySidewalk, who will kick things off for us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the introduction. It's great to see so many people interested in this topic today. It's an honor to be here and to welcome you to this webinar featuring the new Iowa Profile. I woke up this morning and my daughter asked me if I was going to go to the Chiefs parade. We're in Kansas City, and I said no. I would rather be on this webinar with you all today. And she said, "That's just because Taylor Swift's not going to be there." Maybe she's right. But my name's Stephen Hardy. I'm the CEO of MySidewalk. We're a data and technology company building the platform for people who care about places. And our mission is to democratize data and help all of you get better access to data and data stories. It's a really exciting time to be working in technology. The promise of better data transparency and data-driven decision-making is making things that used to feel out of reach achievable. And not a moment too soon. Everyone on this call knows about the community challenges we face. We as a team get to work all across the country, and we hear a consistent theme that access to safe and affordable housing is one of the defining challenges of our time. And that's why we're so excited to be a part of this effort. And today we're going to walk you through how this work helps you build a better understanding of housing in Iowa, and even how housing can be a key strategic differentiator for the state. And we really do believe that. But even more than that, another great thing you'll see is that with this work, IFA has invested in easy access to data, not just for housing, but also about the economy, safety, transportation, public health, and education from the state level all the way down to the census tract. This Iowa Profile is ready-made to help you confidently incorporate this data into your strategic planning, into your grant applications, and into your decision-making. It's a true step forward, and I want to thank the IFA team for the leadership in making this available. So without further ado, I'm going to kick this over to Sarah to show you just how the Iowa Profile can save you a ton of time, and with just a few clicks, give you access to actionable Iowa data. Sarah, take it away.
Thanks, Stephen. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah DeLong, a Strategic Partnership Manager at MySidewalk. My background is in public health. Before joining MySidewalk, I worked at the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, and then most recently at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, where I worked with the governor and his team to enhance data communications in the governor's press conferences. So I'm so excited to be here today to bring you the Iowa Profile so you can walk away with a clear understanding of what you can learn in the data provided in the Iowa Profile, as well as being confident in how to create your own data snapshots for the communities that matter most to you in Iowa. So let's get started. All right. I believe you can see my screen. Someone is welcome to speak up if you cannot.
You look great. You're floating right in front of the profile.
Perfect. That's where I wanted to be. All right. So to start, this is the example of a Iowa Profile data snapshot that you can create. As Terry said, we have data dashboards available at the on housing, quality of life, demographics, economy, and the housing snapshot. Excuse me, on the housing forecast. And that data is available at the state level on the Iowa Finance website, as well as you can generate reports at the county, city or place, zip code, or census tract level. And just to give you a view, each data dashboard has over a dozen data indicators looking at the topics that matter most to you in Iowa. And we have everything related to housing, from looking at cost burdened, who in your community are cost burdened by housing, housing units, looking at total housing units, looking at age and vacancy of homes in your community, as well as home ownership rates, looking at renter occupied units, and mortgages, as well as maybe housing challenges or housing problems. So to zoom out, I want to touch base first on what we can learn in the Iowa profile across all these dashboards. So this is an example of what we can learn quickly in each dashboard. So for example, in the housing forecast dashboard, we could learn about the projected number of housing units needed in Polk County in 2030. Well, what can we do with that actionable data? You could advocate for housing policies and define development opportunities to meet the projected needs with your local representatives. Taking a look at the demographic dashboard, you could learn the race, ethnicity, age, sex, and languages spoken of residents in zip codes that matter most, such as in Mount Pleasant and Lockridge. What could you do with that data? You could create a community advisory board that reflects the demographics of the areas we serve. On the economy dashboard, for example, you could learn about the top employment industries in Marshalltown, Iowa. What could you do with that data? You could evaluate the existing local employment industries, define the ideal mix, and create a plan to achieve the ideal employment industry breakdown. On the housing dashboard, you could learn about the percentage of low-income people who are severely cost burdened by housing in zip codes in Boone and Ogden. With that data, you can examine our housing services and development policies to measure if programs are reaching the residents who need it most. And lastly, on the quality of life dashboard, you could learn how long Iowans are living and the quality of their physical and mental health, and how to apply that data. You could incorporate improvements into development plans that produce opportunities to get moving and connect with others. So this is a quick overview of just a couple of data indicators and what you could do with this data. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat throughout the webinar, and we'll look at the chat at the end, and or my colleagues may hop in and answer some questions as we go. All right, so let's move over to the press generator. So this is the Iowa profile page on the Iowa Finance Authority website. As you scroll down, you will immediately find state dashboards looking at state data alone for the 5 topic areas we highlighted. And so similar to the housing dashboard I showed you, with just coming here, you can have access to a data dashboard looking at demographic data for Iowa. This always lives on the Iowa profile page, but we wanted to provide, alongside IFA, the flexibility to create your own data dashboards for what matters most. Next, you'll find instructions on how to use the data dashboard, and including a video on how to create the Iowa profile that I made, which is a quick tutorial on how to use the Iowa profile in case you need a refresher, alongside written instructions on how to generate dashboards. Okay, so now we've arrived, and this is a 3-step process if you haven't tried this already. The first step is to select your report type. And to start, we're going to take a look and find the answer to that question in the housing forecast dashboard. And step 2 is to look at the geography type. So for only the housing forecast, that data is just available at the county level. So it's going to pre-select county for you. So what this means is using my zoom in function, I can zoom in and find the counties that I'm interested in. To make my geography selection, I am going to come right to the map itself. I'm always going to make my selection in the map. And so maybe I know where Polk County is in this case. So in this case, I would just select Des Moines for Polk County, Iowa, and then I could select my comparison geography. Maybe I'm interested in Jasper County. So now I have my selections, which you can see over here under geography. If I didn't know where Polk and Jasper County was in this map, I imagine most folks on this call do, but in case you didn't, I could come up to the search bar. The search bar is completely optional. So I could type in Polk County, and then the key is that just typing in Polk County did not pull up the county in the dropdown. I need to keep typing to make sure that the county is showing. And then I can see it in my dashboard, and then it's going to show me on the map what is where that county is located. And then again, I make my selection in the map and I select my comparison geography. I could also go up here and do Jasper County. To show me where that is, but you always make your selection in the map. I can select up to 3 geographies. So I could add this county, but in this case, maybe I just want to look at these 2. Then the third step is to hit Generate Dashboard, and you might find yourself scrolling down to hit this button. If you're down here and you're saying, where's my dashboard? You always want to scroll up and look for the black box. The black box, see my dashboard, is how you get to your dashboard. So it's going to open in a new window, and you now have your own URL for the communities that matter most. In this case, it was Polk and Jasper County for looking at that data. You can share this URL, put it on social media, newsletter, completely public, shareable, effectively your own website with this data created. And on the left-hand side is your navigation for the state forecast as well as the county forecast for the counties that you selected. So in this case, we decided to look at Jasper and Polk County. And so the answer to our question on the projected housing units needed for Polk County is 3,967. And so you also have data looking out to 2030, what is the projected home demand by type of home, as well as home supply expected demand based on area median income. So as it's noted in the footnote, negative values in these charts indicate that there's expected to be not enough homes available for folks in this area median income. Where there's a positive number, it's saying there's projected to be a surplus of homes for folks in that area median income, determined by, again, looking out to 2030. And this is available. We are on the county page, but you can also view this data at the state level. Same visuals, just state data. And a great place to come where in all of these dashboards is a great refresher on how to use this tool. This tells you options for sharing these dashboards or charts within the dashboard. So first, you have the option to export the data. By finding this little chart with the arrow, as this visual is showing you, have options to download both the actual physical data into a CSV file as well as an image of the chart. You can also hyperlink, in addition to your URL with your dashboard, you can hyperlink to the actual chart. If you're really excited about a particular visual, you click the paperclip button and that will create a hyperlink to that chart on your dashboard. So you can come back there. So that is the housing forecast data snapshot. I'm going to come back here because I want to make a new dashboard. And as you can see, my geographies are still selected. So say I'm serving Polk County, Jasper County, that area. I want to know more about other topics in these geographies. With just a few clicks, you do not have to reselect your geographies. You can create a dashboard, other dashboards with this same geographies just by changing the report type and selecting generate dashboard. Great. And then we are going to show another dashboard. So in this case, I'm going to start over. I'm going to clear out my geographies. I'm selecting my report type. I want to look at demographics, and then now I want to select a different geography type. So all this selection does is change the lines on the map. So in this case, I want to look at zip codes. So now it's going to show me what zip codes, so I can make a zip code selection on the map. Now, I personally don't know right off the top of my head where on the map these zip codes are. So I'm going to type them into the location box. It just shows me where it is on the map, and then I must make a selection. Next door, I have my two selections. And now I'm going to hit generate dashboard again. And now I'm going to have a whole new data dashboard looking at zip codes in Mount Pleasant and Lockridge. So here is the demographics data snapshot. And in this case, we want to look at, we're looking for what are the age breakdown, race, ethnicity, sex, and languages spoken. So I'm going to scroll down and see some data on age broken down by zip codes, and then it also provides slightly larger geographies than what you select. So in this case, Henry County data as well as Iowa. Say I'm just interested in these zip codes and I'm actually not interested in county level data. Maybe I want the state comparison. You can toggle state and county data on and off. You can toggle any of these on and off to change what you can see. So maybe I just want to compare these two zip codes and look at age breakdowns by those zip codes. And then if this is how you want your chart to look, you can even export it based on your selection. So if you don't want the Iowa and county data, but you want to share this with someone, you could export this, just the data, or as an image file, the chart as an image file. So you have that flexibility within each of these comparison charts. So there's our age breakdown data to answer that part of the question. The other feature in our dashboards is what are called carousels. So anytime you see these dots and these arrows, this tells you there is more data here. So we recommend you use the arrows to the right to see additional data on these geographies. So we were also interested in the race ethnicity breakdown of these communities, as well as the sex breakdown. And we also have data in this carousel on population living with a disability. So look for these, if you're looking for certain data, look for these carousels with the arrows and the dots to find more data that's relevant to you. This demographics dashboard includes data on households as well as education. Again, you can use the arrows to learn more. Native and foreign-born population, and this is where we're going to find our answer to languages spoken at home. And so this is showing data on the primary zip code I selected in the Iowa profile for Mount Pleasant. If you wanted to see languages spoken at home for the Lockridge community zip code, you'd go back to the Iowa profile and switch the primary geography, so the Lockridge zip code is selected in green. Additional data is on income and poverty and veterans. Great. So we're going to go back and I'm going to show you another one. We're going to take a look at the economy dashboard. So step 1, I'm selecting my report type. Step 2, I'm selecting my place or my geography type. In this case, I'm selecting place, which is just refers by the census to areas of population density. So in this case, I'm interested in Marshalltown, Iowa, and it pops up as I start to type it. But again, if it didn't pop up, just keep typing to include Iowa fully spelled out. Making my selection in the map. Maybe if you're just interested in one community, you do not have to make another selection. You only have to select one geography, but you can select up to 3. So maybe I want to compare it to Ames. And I'm going to generate dashboard. See my dashboard, and again, new URL, new data snapshot. One tip would be to save your URLs, because if you close your tab or window, the URL will go away. So my recommendation is to save them, but if you forget to save them, it's not a big deal. You just go back to the Iowa profile dashboard generator and make another dashboard with the geographies that matter to you. So this is our economic report. You always have the how to use it tool to remember how to share out. With every dashboard, you also can generate a PDF. You can generate the full dashboard or just the current page, depending on what you're interested in. And I'm going to use my carousel to find the answer to my question. There's some labor force data. And then I'm interested in employment industries by home location. So this chart is going to be ranked by my primary geography. And that will be, so that was Marshalltown. So from this chart, I can see that manufacturing, education and healthcare, and retail trade are the top 3 industries that people work in who live in Marshalltown. Again, maybe I'm not interested in the county or state level data, so I can turn those off and just compare Marshalltown to Ames. And because it is ranked by Marshalltown, it's actually, these are not the top 3 industries of Ames, Iowa. In fact, just at a glance, I can see that education and healthcare, food, arts, and entertainment, and looks like retail trade are the top 3 industries that people work in who live in Ames, Iowa. Additional data you can find in the dashboard is on employment and wages. Percent change in jobs over time. And business loans. You may see, depending on the geography you select, that data may not be available at that geography level. It looks like there isn't place level data at the for number of businesses, but that data is available at the county and state level. So it'll let you know if that data is not available. This is another chart example of looking at small business loans in these communities. Having this Iowa data here kind of skews the chart and makes it harder to read, even though some of these numbers look like 0, they're actually not 0 when you hover over them. So by removing Iowa from the chart, it's going to change the scale of the chart and you'll be able to do a better comparison. I could even remove the county to declutter my chart to change what I can see. So that's a great option for line charts throughout these dashboards. All right, and the last one I'm going to show you is the quality of life dashboard, and we are going to look at census tract. So here's the quality of life dashboard. I'm going to select my geography as census tract, and it's asking me to zoom in to see those census tracts. And you also have the option to overlay qualified census tracts. For most folks, it will make sense to do no selection, but for folks who work with qualified census tracts, this will show you just on the map. It won't change your dashboard, but it will show you in purple the qualified census tracts, which are defined as any census tract where at least 50% of households have less than 60% of the area median gross income. And so this could inform which census tracts you look at, but it won't change your dashboard. So maybe I want to select those 2 qualified census tracts. I'm looking at quality of life, and I'm going to generate my dashboard. And lastly, here is the quality of life data snapshot. We have data on public health. So we were asking questions at the start about how long Iowans were living, how is the quality of their physical and mental health. So here we have life expectancy data. The life expectancy of Iowans is 79 years on average. We can use our carousels and our arrows to go find general health data. So this data provides data on physical and mental health. We also have data on health insurance coverage, childcare, access to quality and affordable food, environmental quality of the air and walkability, as well as some public safety data, education data, and internet access. So I've shown you all 5 dashboards and examples of what you could learn in each dashboard. So just to run it back one more time, it's a 3-step process to generate your dashboard. You're going to select your report type, and then you're going to select 1 to 3 geographies in the map. You're going to first select your geography type, which is going to create the lines in your map to allow for selection. You'll find your geographies on the map, or optional, you can use the search bar just to find where it is on the map. You still make your selection in the map. You'll always make your selection in the map, as we've said, and then you always want to type out Iowa as needed. If it's not showing up in your dropdown, always make sure you spell out the entire place, including the word county and including the word Iowa, and that will help make sure your location shows up. And then you hit generate dashboard. If you're not seeing your dashboard, you're going to want to scroll up to that black box to find See My Dashboard. And now in just a couple of clicks, you have a whole data snapshot for the topics that matter most to you, for the communities you serve, to help drive data decision making, grant applications, strategic planning, and anything really you need to help improve the communities across Iowa. So my call to action for you today is feel free to go generate 2 dashboards at 2 different geography levels for the areas that matter most to you, just while it's fresh in your mind. You can get practice, and now I'm happy to take questions.
Sarah, we've been doing our best to just kind of answer questions as they've popped up in the chat, and we're doing okay. We haven't quite gotten to all of them yet.
Okay.
But let me see here. I think we're kind of holding steady. Yeah, maybe just one more time, Sarah, just show from the landing page to generate a dashboard. Just walk through that 1, 2, 3 step process one more time.
Sure. So I'm on the Iowa Finance Iowa profile page. You have your state dashboards, and I keep on scrolling, and then you get instructions. This link is a video, and then you also have written instructions. And then you arrive at your Iowa profile generator. So you're going to select, we were just here, so I'll start from 0. You're going to select your report types. First step, you're going to select your geography type, and all this does is change the lines on the map. So if I want to look at county, it's going to show county lines. And if your lines disappear, just toggle on and off with the zoom. That'll make the lines appear more. Maybe I want to look at zip codes. Maybe I want to look at places, and places are not going to cover the whole state. It's going to cover what the census defines as areas of population density. And then I can look at the census tract level, and that's going to invite me to zoom in to see those census tracts. I make my selections. Your primary geography will be in green. Any additional comparison geographies will be in orange, and I can select up to 3. And then I can generate my dashboard. And I'm looking for that black box. And I'll get a pop-up in a matter of seconds. There we go. I have my new day dashboard. I can save this URL if I want to come back to it. If I lose it or close the window, no big deal. Go right back and generate it again in just a few clicks.
Great, thank you, Sarah. There's just kind of following back up on a couple of the other questions. Let me see here. We had a question earlier around ACS data versus BLS data and why we were choosing that over the BLS data. It's a good question, and you're right that the BLS data has some advantages. The coverage isn't as universal for the state of Iowa, so it's not as applicable for everywhere in the state, which is why that decision was made. I think one thing to note, just in general, and there are a few comments that are along this, it'll be really helpful for us to hear back from all of you on, like, where are there things that could be improved in the future? Where are the things that you'd like to see that aren't there? Because this is certainly something that we're hoping continues to evolve as a living asset for the state. So there are a lot of good ideas just about things that could be included. And as you play through with this, I'm sure you'll have more. So it's great to see those already bubbling up. And those are things that are great to pass along.
Sarah, do you think maybe you could address, we had a question about the data updating and how often that occurs, and I think it was answered in the chat, but it might be helpful if you could touch on that.
Yep. So once you generate a dashboard, approximately 50% of the data, specifically any 5-year estimate ACS data and the HUD Comprehensive Housing Affordability Strategy data, will be updated automatically as we update our data system. However, the other data sources in your dashboard will be static when you generate your dashboard. About once a year, we will update the Iowa Profile Generator to make sure the generator is using the latest data based on data availability. And so any dashboards updated after the generator update will then have that latest data. So if you're interested, maybe in a year or so, you want to check back and make sure you're looking at the latest data, you would just come back to the generator and make the same dashboard again. But you can be confident that approximately 50%, particularly those 2 data sources, will update automatically in your dashboards. And the great place to find that is below each chart is the source. And that generally includes the year, so you know that what year of data you're looking at.
There was a question just about how the data compares to data from other sources like Esri. Typically, everybody's using sources that are relatively similar. So it's not like Esri is the source of the data. It's coming from somewhere like the ACS or from HUD or from the EPA. So the sources should be as close to source of truth as there can be. And those are things that we're updating as a team, as Sarah was mentioning, as they come out. There's a, let me see. There's a question about weighting data, comparing or aggregating data of similar type. So the weighting that exists currently, I'm not sure if this answers the question, Paula. Depending on the geography that you select, there is a weighting that we're doing to give you the best numbers for that geography, for something like a zip code as an example, where the shape doesn't line up with the boundary of a census geography. We're doing some math. It's the model the reason is called weighted block point apportionment, to come up with a calculation for that shape that doesn't perfectly line up. So that's mostly where the weighting in the most typical case for weighting exists in the dashboard. Having the weighted average. Maybe this is something we could just follow up with you on, Paula, too, because I don't think I'm perfectly understanding the request.
I'm seeing if there's any other questions we didn't get to.
I clearly there's some really good questions coming in. I think the keep sending them in. I think the best way for us to do this is just to write up a full response and include that in the follow-up email to the webinar.
And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we can definitely, I'm sure additional questions will come in after the webinar as well, and we can work with My Sidewalk to compile a frequently asked questions or some sort of document and try to get answers to as many of those questions as possible. But I also wanted to mention that this is our launch of a new tool. It's our first crack at this, and we will be having an ongoing. I don't want to give the impression that this is a one and done. This is an ongoing relationship and partnership that we have with My Sidewalk. We will be working together going forward as well. And I'm sure we will be discussing, potential enhancements, including, potentially bringing in other data resources, perhaps data that's data sets that are specific to the state of Iowa that we have available to us, but that aren't available in My Sidewalks data library at this time. So yeah, there certainly will be opportunities for additional conversation surrounding the Iowa profile and how we might think about making it even more useful to our community partners.
Great. I saw one more question in the chat. Someone asked about data. Do other states have available data like this? Another state that has this that you mentioned among Iowa, South Dakota, Nebraska is Nebraska has a dashboard generator as well. And we can include that follow-up link in our follow-up if you're interested in seeing a similar approach for what we've also built for Nebraska. And if you're interested in learning about My Sidewalk, more about IFA and this partnership, if you're interested in access to additional data, here's a quick link just to learn more about My Sidewalk and the data we have available.
Well, thank you all for thank you, Stephen and Sarah, for joining us and for conducting the demonstration webinar. Thank you all for joining us. We will be this webinar was recorded, and we will be making the link available for you to as a refresher, and also you would be able to share with your teams or others who weren't able to join us today. So we look forward to continued success of the Iowa profile and making it a valuable resource for all of our partners. So thank you all. Have a great day.